So welcome, and allow yourself a moment to arrive. Settle back in your chair, pause whatever activity you're doing just for a moment, and notice how you are this morning, how you feel, how you are nervous systeming. Have a little scan through the body, yourself as a whole being, noticing where your attention is called or wanders to. And notice the breath. Perhaps you can soften the breath, soften the shoulders. And I was thinking about Halloween this week and the idea of the witch on Halloween. And my invitation to you is to consider the wise woman within. The wise, magical woman, because that's what witches are. That's what we all are. And when you give space and pause and soften, how your own wisdom comes through. But linger there a little bit longer. Noticing what the wisdom of you is bringing this morning. And then either resting back in your chair, your bed, or moving about and visualizing, or being still and visualizing, whatever you choose to do. I'm going to lie down today and also take my scarf off. And as you choose a position to rest back in, notice what position you have chosen, because you have chosen it. And wisdom, your own wisdom, has supported your choice. Back to that combination of what do I want, what do I need, because sometimes you just want to go for what you want, and that's okay. Embrace the playfulness or the curiosity. We're going to find a twist, so depending what position you're in, if you're lying down like me today, you might want a cushion or a bolster between the thighs or the knees and roll over onto one side. If you are, I know I don't need to show you this every day, but if you are sitting up, you can still have a cushion, but you can turn the body and leave the legs where they are, or you can turn the legs one way and turn the body. Your choice. Be gentle. And then open out the arms a little, even if they rest down by your sides or they reach out. And have awareness of how that feels. If it feels good, uncomfortable, if it's like, oh, I remember this sensation, I've needed this, or if it's oh, that feels too strong. There's wisdom in those thoughts and experiences telling you where you would be better or where you might choose to move to. Sink and soften. And then bring it back over or back to the center and take it to the other side. Your twists can be micro twists as well, you know. They don't have to be very visible as big movements. So find the twist that you choose. You could even stay here for 20 minutes. I think I've said before, if I can't sleep, sometimes I have a supine twist practice in bed, much to my husband's delight. Linger a moment longer. Notice if you go to rush out of it and what that's about, because it might be about discomfort, it might be about the rushing of the day ahead. It might be a natural pattern you have that you might want to shift, and then come back to center. And I'm going to come straight over to tabletop, but you can stay lying down, you can stay seated or come to seated, or you can come to tabletop. And we're going to find some cat-cow, so you can do that in any of the positions. First, coming to tabletop, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, or sitting tall if you're seated, hands on your knees. And then tilting the pelvis, belly forward, opening the chest. Tilting the pelvis, rounding through the spine, chin to chest. Just finding some intuitive flow there. And if you're lying flat, let the tilting of the pelvis bring the movement of the spine. And then pause. Okay, I'm going to show you this from tabletop first. So we're going to come into a baby warrior 2 or a incorporating gate pose. So if you're in tabletop, stretch out one leg. Don't worry, you'll have a seated version. And then that other knee that's bent can wiggle out to the side away from the screen, away from us. It's like a kickstand to get you supported. And drop the heel of the extended leg. And then reach the arm forward and strong through the core and rise up. If you are seated, you can come down on one side, strong through the core and rise up. You don't have to have your legs join in the same way. But it's like a baby warrior 2. And notice where you feel it. And then you might drop a hand down to the extended leg side and sweep over, coming into a kind of side bend. Same if you're lying flat, let it be a side bend. Don't worry too much about the legs. One can be bent, one can be straight. Or visualize it. And linger there. And then be a gentle windmill. And if you're coming back to tabletop, you can push right the way back to child's pose. If you're seated, you can fold forward. So your choice, child's pose or fold. If you're lying flat, you can bring knees to chest. Have a little wiggle there. A slow motion, curled up shimmy. Okay, noticing what the inner voice is telling you, what your body, you as a body are telling yourself, the wisdom that's there. Is that a good movement? Is it not? And then take it to the other side. So I'm going to swap ends of the mat just so that I can see those in the Zoom room and you can see me. A little bit of cat-cow first, whether you're seated, lying, or visualizing, or in tabletop. And then it's most complicated in tabletop. Stretching out the leg nearest the screen. And the other leg that's kind of like a bit free, you're resting on the knee, but the leg can go out away from the screen like a bit of a kickstand on a bike. Drop that stretched out foot. Strong through the core. And the same if you're in a seat, one foot arm down to the side and rise up. It's like magic. How did I get here? I was in tabletop. How did this happen? And drop one hand down to the side and sweep up. Noticing if there's any shift in your nervous system as you do that, because you're opening up the side of the body, opening up the space between the ribs. I see a yawn. So it can trigger a yawn, but it can trigger like a burst of energy as well. And then be the gentle windmill on a dark winter's night. And either pushing back to child's pose, or if you're seated, folding over, curling, rounding gently, softly. Noticing what your body would like, what you as a body would like. And if your body wants something different, do something different. Or you can come right down to child's pose, where I usually squish my microphone so I won't go right down. And then gently come back up. You can either sit back in your chair or you can lie back on the bed, the sofa, the mat, or you can come to seated. And pause a moment, noticing how you feel. I'm going to take a butterfly. So I'll turn sideways, soles of the feet together. Oh, let me show you that way first. Let the knees drop out, but you can have cushions or blocks under them. If you're lying down, you might rest on some cushions. If you are like me, but you don't want to lie back, you might lean back on your hands. And if you're in a chair, you might rest back in your chair. But see where your legs want to be, see where your body wants to be. Try and leave some space between your shoulders and your head so your shoulders are not crunched up. And play with it, see where it's most comfortable. You can even lift through the chest a little bit, opening. You can even round a little bit. Notice how it feels. And then gently rest back. I'm going to turn around, but find a position of softness, of relaxation, of ease. And you might want another pose. You might want a happy baby, or your legs in the air, or maybe come to a hug before doing anything else. I see this in the Zoom room. We all tend to rock when we have self-care pose. It's like it's that natural wisdom and intuition in the body, in your being. And then let that go and rest back. And consider how your inner wisdom can have a voice, how you can allow your inner wisdom to guide you. It's a bit like the crone in the archetypes, maiden, mother, crone. Doesn't matter what age you are. There is a crone part of you, the wiser, older woman with a voice inside you. Let that awareness trickle through your body, perhaps starting at the feet. Notice the inner voice of your feet, your toes. What wisdom lies there? And let the awareness move through the feet and into the lower legs. The feet and the lower legs tend to get a lot of work. Even if you don't walk a lot, they tend to get a lot of work. Even if you use a chair and are supported, you still rely on your feet for balance, for positioning, your legs to move, to turn. What can you sense into, imagine in your lower legs and feet? Let that awareness move from the toes, the feet, the lower legs, up into the thighs. Sensing, imagining, feeling the upper legs, the thighs, up into the hip joints from the inside, and noticing what wisdom may lie there, what may reveal itself to you. Sensing the whole of the legs, from the tips of the toes right up to the top of the thigh bone, the femur. And then moving awareness into the pelvis, a rich source of wisdom in us as women, and you as men. If there's a man listening there, we tend to be mainly women, but the female wisdom runs strong in the pelvis. So sensing, imagining the strong bony pelvis, the organs of reproduction, the sexual organs, the pelvic floor. What wisdom is within you. Letting that awareness move from the pelvis into the belly, the softness of the front of the belly, letting the muscles relax, and the strength the spine at the back of the belly, and the organs within. What wisdom lies there? And it's you, it's not separate from you. It's your wisdom. Moving up into the chest, the heart space, a different kind of wisdom living in the heart space. Different kind of wisdom was living in the gut space, actually, in the belly, but in the heart space. Passion, care. What lies there for you? Sensing into the lungs, the ribs, the whole of the chest. And then moving that awareness into the arms, so starting with the fingers and the hands that are our main contact with everything that we do, with everything you do, everything you touch, every sensation you process through things that you hold. What wisdom lies there? Moving awareness into the lower arms. Sensing, imagining being the lower arms. Feeling into them from the inside. And the upper arms, stronger muscles, allowing reach, support, carrying, holding, protecting. And perhaps you can sense into the whole of each arm, be the whole of each arm. Notice what wisdom your arms are carrying, being. And moving through the neck and into the head. The wisdom in your face. The wisdom in a wry smile. And the wrinkle of your nose, the cheeks. And the glint within your eye, and sensing into that from the inside. And perhaps you can feel into the whole body. From the inside out. And tuning into the wisdom that you hold as a whole being. All of the time. And allowing a moment to pause and sense into it. So taking a breath, letting it go and soften, and being for a few moments. And taking a deeper breath, having a little wiggle of your fingers and toes, having a stretch. And perhaps taking that intention to pause and notice the wisdom that you have, that you are throughout your day. I'm going to stop the live stream. I'm going to check in with the Zoom room so that I can stop the Zoom by 5 to and check in and see how everybody's doing. Thank you very much for joining us.